Welcome to beautiful Buffalo, New York, and the sun is shining and the play has been bright as the 2015 IPC Ice Sledge Hockey World Championships continue to reign on. And you look at the outside of Harbor Center, and this is the inside. And the Italians, 1-2, 1 win, 2 losses in this tournament, face the Japanese, still yet to get a win. This is the qualification round. This is though where it all matters, because they're playing in this matchup here, and the victor will stay for certain in Group A at these World Championships, and the loser will be automatically relegated. Very interesting as you look at the Japanese in white and the Italians in the far end. This is the group already. And in game day number 4, Germany win their qualification match over the Czech Republic 1-0, and they are through into that 5th, 6th qualification match, which is later on in the week. And this is the second one, the Italians and the Japanese in what is a do-or-die situation over these remaining 45 minutes or more. As you look at the referees for this one and the linesmen on hand, a 3-man system in ice sledge hockey, as we're moments away. Justin Green will be in charge, and the Canadian as well, Clark, and then him on the line. As we look at the Italian, and there is their light blue with dark blue trim, a big win over the Germans. The Russians, a handful for them, and the Americans, well, actually, there you see, pretty impressive, the United States and the way they were able to take care of the Italians. And then the Japanese, a real difficult tournament coming up until now. And they're really close against the Czech Republic, but I wonder whether or not they have equally stored their best game in the holster for this 4th game of this tournament. I'm Brent Pope, and alongside me providing expert analysis is a man who would know. Twice a world champion himself, and equally twice a gold medal Paralympian, and Taylor Lipsett, now retired from the U.S. men's ice sledge hockey team. What are we got in store for ourselves in this one?
Yeah, just like you mentioned, this is the game that matters. This is for all the marbles in the qualification round, and the reason these games are such a big deal and why staying in the A pool is so important is because the A pool teams are the only teams that participate in the Paralympics. So the 7th and 8th finishers from this tournament get relegated down to the B pool and will not be considered for the Paralympic roster until they get back up into the A pool, and they won't have that chance again until 2017.
Massimo Turin has done a pretty solid job, in fairness, in leading this Italian side. They have had their hands tied maybe, or difficulty trying to get the results they would have liked. They'd have liked to have been, I think, on the outside looking in, maybe trying to get a medal in this tournament. They're not going to in this World Championships as we look at this. And Takahashi, number 55, one to watch, has been outstanding on the faceoffs. Nagase will continue to be in goal. Fukushima was also a performer in goal for the Japanese side, but he is not in the lineup, as Kojin Nakakitsu knows that it all comes down to these remaining 45 minutes for this Japanese program that in 2010 were silver medalists in the Paralympic Games in Vancouver.
That's exactly right. And Takahashi, number 55 for the Japanese, is the forward that got them back into the A pool. He led their team and the tournament with 8 goals in the 2013 B pool World Championships. So they're going to rely on him a lot today to get a result that they want.
Nagase, unfortunately, 0-3. That doesn't matter. It's all about what's going to happen over the next 45 minutes, or possibly more if we've got to go to extra time. Planker, an interesting story, and there's interesting stories up and down these lineups as we are set and almost ready to go for this second of the qualification matches in game day number 4. You're watching what has been an outstanding World Championships in Buffalo. We're right downtown, and these two are going to kick it off, and they're going to leave nothing in the tank. We're underway. Japan in white with the black and red trim, and the Italians in the light blue with the royal blue trim. It'll go right in beside Arado. He'll watch it safely, and it's one of those plays, again, those small touches in and around the short side, the long side of the net. They can always be dangerous, but the Japanese, very steady and controlled about how they approach their game. They don't really get too carried away, but what we saw in the game in the other qualification match was that the Germans brought their best game of the tournament, and they were able to play defensive, but they forechecked very well too. Be interesting to see as Caligaris will take it for the Italians. He'll whip it wide. Long stretch out with Nagase. This is a loose play, and Caligaris will collect it, settle things down. The whistle actually on the play, and not sure if it was offside, but emotions high to start this one.
Yeah, both teams trying to get a quick start off here. You saw the Japanese just try to fire the puck in the offensive zone and establish a forecheck, and then the same for the Italians here. Both teams going to fill each other out a bit here for a few minutes just to try to set the pace of the game, and like you said, they're going to be playing all their cards today and laying everything on the table.
A battle, and interesting there that Takahashi doesn't take the face off, considering how dominant he's been by a real significant margin over his other competitors and center icemen in this tournament. Rossa makes the play, it comes up, it's blocked down, and Rossa, a tremendous story, has been a part of this program now. The Italians, for a while, since 2007, starting in the sport of ice sledge hockey, but also a Paralympian in other sports. This is turned over. This is Planker. He can make it happen. He goes high over the right side. And Planker won the watch as well, the 38-year-old for the Italians. He and Rosa are key figures. And to get Planker in front, that's a great save by Nagase to get the blocker down.
The Italians really causing some problems for the Japanese in their own end right now, or perhaps the Japanese being their own problem with the turnovers and bad passes up the middle. So they'll look to get in here and establish some kind of forecheck on the Italians.
Kumagai right in there first. He'll forecheck. He's on his own, but those plays out front, they always ask questions, and anything can happen.
Yeah, the dangerous thing is with all the sleds and each player having two sticks, you never know what kind of bounce the puck can take or what it might hit off of. So never a bad thing to throw the puck out in front or put the puck on the net. Talon
Carrera's fighting with everything he's got. And it really does look desperate from both these sides, particularly the Italians. They want to score first. And the percentages of victory after scoring the first goal are incredibly high. And both these teams know that in this particular 45-minute window, it's really how the whole tournament boils down. And it's just this matchup. Now the Japanese, this is a good-looking break here. Will they take a shot from the outside? Blocked over. Diche will get back in the lane and preventing that in. That was Nakamura was going to come across to get that shot. It's bumped. It's out into the neutral zone again. And as soon as they come out, it goes back in, and that pressure is king to put on the opposition defense. Yeah, this is the style of play we saw from the Japanese in their last game. A lot more physical, a lot more assertive in dumping the puck and establishing a forecheck. They're doing a good job here so far against the Italians. Laperti just plays that puck into the middle. It is controlled by his fellow defenseman. They'll get it out. Chiarazzi wants to just get a long-angled cross-ice dump in there. It can't quite get it. The player intended, oh, there's a big collision there. Laperti, who's a big body, knocks his man down. I don't think there's going to be any penalties, and we saw that as well. Is the referees just allowing the players to determine these results, and so crucial as it's a big part of the game and equally how it's governed by the official, but you gotta let the players play. Yeah, as long as you go in with your shoulder and initiate all contact with the body as opposed to the sled or the elbow, the official should let them play, and especially knowing what kind of game this is and how much is on the line, hopefully we'll see the players determine the outcome of this one. Laperti out-muscles his opposite number to get this face-off, and immediately right out of the defensive zone. This is Rosa guiding and just weaving, and really with great control there, and that goes dangerously close for the Italians. And from that type of angle, you don't expect it, but that's exactly what Rosa, these world-class players, can do. That's exactly right, and he's actually a defenseman, but his ability to jump up in the play like that and get the Japanese chasing and put the puck on the net from essentially anywhere in the zone is what makes him so dangerous. An incredible athlete is Rosa. Not only is he at this Paralympic standard for ice sledge hockey, but he was also a World Cup para-alpine skier too for the Italians back in 2009. And a tremendous, really, crossover athlete. Actually, his amputation of his right leg as a result of a motorcycle accident. And he continues to lead this Italian program and coming onto the scene in 2008 at this international level. Yeah, I had the chance to play against him a few times in my career, and he's a hard worker, and he's got good speed and control, and like you just saw, he can put the puck on the net. They'll go back at Sudo. A very interesting story, similar to that, equally of Rosa, as he gets hit hard. And it'll be turned over. Planker out front, a danger chance. Can Planker get there? Converging back the Japanese, but the puck is still loose. The referee is allowing it to continue. It's a bunt fight in there, and whether they can get it out from underneath the sled of Kumagai. He is just trying to smother it down. and just trying to kill the movement and the momentum generated by the Italians, and they do exactly that, the Japanese. Enough, they wait him out. Here is Sudo. He can create a lane himself, he just loses it for a second. And Sudo against McCree. They'll battle and body contact there. Great work from the Japanese to come out of their defensive zone and always, and here they are now. Jorge, a shot, and it's blocked. But to go from one end of the ice to the other for Sudo, the veteran blue liner. He's now 44 years of age for this Japanese side. And his story, as he mentioned about Rosa, in 1992, he was actually the victim of an elevator accident that led him to be hospitalized for 2 years. And a double amputee is Sudo as he works his way back now to help and support in front of goal. Come across the other side, this is Kumagai, and he tries to get up. Flanker is trying to feed in front, and it's an ambitious pass. Caligaris needing a little bit more time to get himself collected and ready to receive that puck.
Sudo's definitely the heart of the Japanese defense back there. He's very calm and collected with the puck. He makes really smart decisions, and he has a cannon from the point. So you'll see in the offensive zone on set face-off plays that they'll try to pull the puck back to him so he can get a good shot on net.
Continuing to work, great chance here for the Italians. It's a save point blank by Nagase. Another one, and that sequence, do remember that as this game continues to play out. Nagase right now holding the Italians at bay.
Those are the kind of saves that Nagase made in 2010 that got the Japanese in the gold medal game in the Vancouver Paralympic Games and got them a silver medal.
It's exactly Nagase, one of his career highlights as he looks back to those 2010 Paralympic Games. And who would have thought it on home soil to take the Canadians out at the semifinal stage and then to obviously get themselves a silver medal after falling to the Americans in the gold medal match. Rosa continues across the line, but the official with the eagle eye there, making sure that the puck advances before the sled. And outstanding action to start, just over now 6 minutes gone in this first period. We're scoreless in Buffalo at the 2015 IPC Ice Sledge Hockey World Championships. Japan will have a face-off in their own zone, and Nagase just comfortably just sitting back there, although his team has gone to the bench. But look at Caligaris here. That is right on the button. Look how far out Nagase is of the goal, and then to be able to fall to his right and to take away the rebound. And it's the first shot is incredible. The second one to be able to respond not knowing where the rebound will go to make sure that you commit correctly and you're able to be in position to make the second save.
Those are two world-class saves right there by Nagase. The Italian shooter had a wide open net on that rebound, and he was able to get his balance and dive back across his goal to block that wide open net.
On the stick of Rosa again. You're going to find that all day. A bouncing puck, and Nagase in the way, but equally those pucks have a chance, or they equally have every sort of right to find a way through the equipment, as we have seen, particularly as they're spinning and bouncing towards goal.
Yeah, some of these shots where the puck bounces in front of the crease are the toughest ones for the goaltender to be able to handle, because you don't know exactly what kind of bounce the puck is going to take. So a good job by Nagase of squaring up in front of that puck and keeping it out.
Difficult saves to make. It's almost like a catcher, isn't it? Trying to dig those sinkers or those knuckleballs out of the dirt and prevents them being pass balls right into the back of your net. And some good work, though, from the Italians as they will just try and get it away safely, but not really directed with the purpose they need. They need to sort of link these plays together. They're relying on Rosa a lot to carry the mail for him right now to get this puck out of the zone, but this is Leperti. Leperti's got an option up, and it's just a little bit too far away. And Corvino will at least be in a position to go after it. They've got pressure. Leperti's in a great position there. Right into the body, though. Oh, they'll score, and it's going to count. Leperti with the shot, but it's the captain who's going to get to it and knock it home and put it in for the Italians.
Chiarati just took the puck right away from Nagase. He couldn't control the rebound, and it dropped down in the crease. He was trying to fish for it a little bit, and Chiarati just reached in and took it for himself.
Watch it here from the outside. A little bit of a break against the grain. Find a lane, a shot, And Chiarati, he's basically unmarked, and if they can't get it before he does, well, he'll just whack it in the back of the net, and the Italians grab that all-important first goal of the game.
It's all because he went to the net and stopped there. A lot of times you'll see players skate by the net and take themselves out of their play, but a good job by the captain getting himself in front of the net and ready for a rebound.
We'll await the official clarification on that goal. We're expecting at the moment, though, it's going to go to Andrea Chiarati. It's now, though, behind the Italian goal as they'll muscle and try to get it away against Sudo. Immediately on the scene, he is generally the puck carrier, making sure to set the table for the Japanese. And the referee blowing at the linesman, directing that maybe there was a hand on the puck. I'm not entirely sure. Nonetheless, it's going to be outside of the Italian blue line. And they will need to get themselves reset, because what we all know just exactly what the momentum behind a first goal generates. But for Japan right now, who have difficulty getting goals in this tournament, well, it just makes another further step to climb.
That's exactly right, and an interesting tactic by the Japanese. We haven't seen Takahashi take a face-off yet, and I'm not sure if that's so that he can line up on the outside and be someone that can be the first into the zone. You see him here in the zone creating a forecheck right off the bat. Maybe that's their tactic, is to get him in the zone first as opposed to being tied up in the face-off circle. But he's one of the best face-off men in the tournament, and to see him not taking any opportunities so far, it's pretty interesting.
Strong play from Sudo. He just puts it into a central position, but it's batted right back out. And that is, again, we got another whistle, a hand pass from the referee, and the play since that goal has been a little bit stop-start, and we haven't had the same flow that we had in the opening stages. An incredible, really, non-marking of Chiarati in front of the goal. And the goal is awarded to Chiarati, assist on the play to Laperdi, and also to number 68, Valerio Corvino, at 6:53 of this first period. And the Italians, no doubt, will be breathing a sigh of relief. Onto the stick of the Italian defense once again. Balasetti, and a penalty now coming, and I think it's going to be interference, and that was off the play. And things, all of a sudden, the tone of this game has changed.
Yeah, the Japanese are having to be a little bit more aggressive now, and they're bringing a little bit more speed into the offensive zone, trying to establish that forecheck, and the Italian defender just had to interfere with him a little bit. That's actually not the penalty. That was after the whistle had already gone, but still a hard hit that Rosa kind of took offense to there from Takahashi. But there was an interference call on the first forechecker that the Japanese had sent in, and so Japan's going to have a power play here for the next 2 minutes or so to see if they can get something generated.
Interesting analysis, though, on the use of Takahashi on the wing as opposed to at center, and maybe he's the most likely to get in on the loose puck opportunities. As the penalty going to number 5, it's going to be Florian Planker. Now a Japanese power play and a goal to answer right back. Well, they would love that, and it would indeed calm things down in this game. But Jorge, a shot! And as dangerous as you're going to want to have it. Arado seeing the puck through Kumagai, who had a perfect screen in front.
It was a pretty quick whistle there by the referee, or maybe he's calling goaltender interference here, but it was a great chance there. I'm not exactly sure why the whistle was blown.
You're right, and it may have been, in fact, the goaltender interference, and not to sort of cast any sort of bit of a reflection on this game, but right now the refereeing over the last couple 3 minutes, not necessarily curious, but the game tempo has been changed, and it isn't the same flow as it was. But this is the penalty kill that the Italians have employed throughout this tournament, 2 for 3. Japan, though, with numbers coming forward. And Jorge can't get it. Rosa tries to collect it, but he ends up putting it back behind his own goal line. Takahashi, and I think that's exactly it. Takahashi seems to be the first one on the forecheck at the moment for the Japanese.
He's definitely their fastest player, one of the most physical players on the team as well. So it does make sense that they'd want him to be the first guy in, but it's just hard to sacrifice those face-off opportunities as well. So we'll see how the strategy pays off.
Takahashi with the puck, and he's just making that transition back up ice now, looking to try and make something of this less than 50 seconds now available on the power play. And it's so important. The power play can be obviously a momentum boost for you, but it can also take away momentum if you don't do a whole lot with it.
Yeah, especially if you have the Italians like they are right now in your zone. creating pressure. This is the time where you want to be wearing them down in their own defensive zone and trying to generate some opportunities, and Japan yet to even have a shot on net.
The Italians are just chasing them back in their own zone and making it very difficult to even find a passing lane. This is a good one, though, and they'll set it up, and Misawa, you thought maybe he could have just done that a little bit sooner, as Rosa reads it like a book and just breaks it up. And it's really that, isn't it? Making decisions quicker than the defense can respond to.
Yeah, he did a good job there, stepping up at the blue line, initiating contact right as the Japanese forward entered the zone, and consequently prevented any kind of offense or scoring chances for the Japanese.
That was Takahashi's stick that actually blocked what was going to be likely to be an icing against the Japanese. He makes his way off, and they always look when they lose a stick like they're potentially injured, but I think he's okay, and he's still all right, just missing that stick that's still out there in the defensive zone. And now as the Italians look to move forward, they've got some strength and they've got momentum on their side. Rosa across this line. He's in a good position. He gets squeezed out, holds with it though, Rosa. Can he find it up? And his momentum is slowed at the last precious second. And he makes a shot, but Nagase controls it.
Still got a shot off net. Just incredible strength by Rosa to battle with 2 or 3 different Japanese defenders there. Still to be able to get a shot on net is just a display of athleticism there.
McCree gets bumped by Shioba as it goes into the zone. And back is Sudo. Sudo around 44 years of age is Satoru Sudo. And a big part of this program as they work the Japanese to try and level this score before the end of the first period. But it's also one of those things that you don't need to race to get that, but you certainly don't want to concede again. So it's the ebb and flow of trying to take the possession when it's made available to you. And Sudo, again, in behind his own net. It's a great little reverse, though, to avoid the forecheck.
A little bit of a teeing there. It wasn't called, but you saw the Italian forward's sled hit the bucket of Sudo and lift him completely up off the ice, and a chance in front.
Oh, it's there, and it's danger, and they convert. And he has done it again. And Kiroti is a double scorer in this hockey game, and the Italians are sitting pretty in this first period.
The veteran captain just putting him in a place to score a goal. Again, right near the crease. Great positioning from him, and his teammates finding him out in front.
This pass comes out of the corner from Planker, and how it gets through Sudo, well, it's hard to tell from here. But all that Kiroti knows is that he got the perfect pass, and that he'll take care of the rest from there. To take it on the backhand to the forehand, and then to shelf it in a hurry. That is a classy and a world-class play.
Yep, that puck had GPS put on it, and the only stop was on Kirioti's stick in the back of the net.
Outstanding response, and maybe this is what was expected in this hockey game, is because maybe we hadn't seen that in the first qualification match, that possibly we gave the life or the expectancy that the Japanese could potentially be spoilers here right now, but the Italians are showing that they are very capable, and they'll take the chances when given them, and it's really quite intimidating just how clinical they've been.
Yeah, the Italians are a great team. They're actually the defending European champions. So this isn't really surprising overall as a team effort. It's just they're in the group of death this week with the United States and with Russia, and they've just really had their handful in their group play.
It is a challenge. You only get 3 games in the preliminary round, and that'll determine how you obviously go through the qualification rounds. And we've talked about it. The top 8 teams in the world obviously getting an opportunity to go on into that next Paralympic cycle, which is in Pyeongchang, South Korea in 2018. And every team wants to potentially be in a position to compete for a Paralympic medal, but you want to be a world champion too if you can. And of course, as a result of being in this qualification rounds, it means that they aren't in to compete for a medal in 2015 in Buffalo. But the Japanese, again, are hemmed in behind their own goal line. And the battle ensues as Kumagai looks to just make a play out of his own zone. And the Italians, with 2 goals to their credit already, are feeling good about things. Takahashi will lay it off. Kumagai. Oh, that's a great one. And Arado, it looked for a moment like he might have been caught out a little bit too high in his crease, but he goes up and snatches that one down.
That was a good grab by Arado there. Yeah, I agree with you. It looked like he was a little out of position, but just able to reach up and snag the puck. A great save and a good job by the Japanese to come up nice, calm, and collected as a unit. You see Takahashi and Yamaguchi here, or Kumagai, I'm sorry, working the puck a little bit, and a good shot on net.
It was, and he makes a good save. Italy with a 2-goal lead at the moment. They are 2-0 up at these World Championships in Buffalo. Italy are doing what was expected of them, and they have grabbed a quick lead. And they have a face-off in their own zone. It was a good response, a strong one, as the shot came in from Kumagai. But right now, this very competitive and capable Italian side, as you say, the reigning European champions, maybe not where they wanted to be in this particular match, but at least in this match, they are in control, which will assure that they're likely to be staying up in Pool A.
And talking with the Italians before the tournament started, they knew that they were in a tough spot in getting out of group play, facing the Russians and the Americans, the last Paralympic gold and medals, gold and silver medalists, and basically they just wanted to finish better than they did in Sochi, which was 6th place. So if they can win this game, it'll put them in the game for 5th and 6th, and then they'll be preparing for the Germans, hopefully, to achieve that goal of increasing their positioning for the next World Championships.
And that's one of those things you might think that it's unfair for the Italians to be up against the reigning number 1 and 2 in the world in the Paralympic cycle, but that's not how the seeding in this tournament particularly is applied or how it's set. It's what the World Championships were in 2013 in South Korea then, and the seeding dictates how this tournament was set up.
Exactly right. So a little confusing there if you're not paying attention, but that's exactly right. So it's the seedings from 2013, which Canada were the world champions that year, so they're ranked number 1, followed by the US and Russia in 2 and 3.
Japan coming forward, closing down on a minute and a half in this first period. They would love to get something and to respond to the scoreline and get one on the board, even a good chance. They had one a moment ago, but they are capable of better if given a better look. But from long distance seems to be often kind of 50-50, between teams deciding do they want to get right up tight and close or shoot from a distance. And because of the block shots, really, it often dictates just where those shots will come from.
Yeah, there's so many bodies and pieces of equipment between shooters up high and the net that it can sometimes benefit you and some of the deflections and rebounds that it can take, but also it's just a lot of traffic to get a puck through, so you have to really pick and choose your shots carefully.
Jorge, and I thought he was on the button there. And as, again, Arado a long ways out, and he is at maximum stretch to collect that puck.
That was a good job by Jorge right there, looking for a screen in front. I think he almost got it. I think Arado just caught it at the last second. Takahashi doing a good job of sitting in front of the net, creating some problems for the Italians.
Great saves late in this first period from Gabriel Arado, and is keeping that 0 on the board for the Japanese. Sudo with a shot, and that is blocked this time. Rosa gets in the way, and some pressure at the moment mounting from the Japanese offensively. Sudo trying to get there, but just enough presence, really, as there's so many of the Italians back in front of goal.
Yeah, you saw the Japanese do a good job winning that face-off. Takahashi actually took that face-off and won it back to Sudo. That was that set play that I was referring to earlier on in the period. And the Japanese doing a good job of getting in here and creating some problems for the Italians.
McCree working up against Takahashi. That's a tremendous play from Takahashi. Goes out to Sudo. They missed the goal, and the reason why is he's just down on his side. He's not actually on his skates at the time. He stays with it and finishes the play, and it's a perfect opportunity for Sudo, but he goes wide of the net and across this line. Late in this first period, Calagaris trying to play a possession game and force the Japanese back, but this will be lifted, and it ends up actually out of play. And I think it goes off one of the players. The referee's discussing it, though, just for clarity, whether or not, in fact, there is a penalty coming.
Yeah, I believe that that's a delay of game penalty when the player shoots it out of the zone.
If it's gone out directly, it should be a penalty. If it's the defensive team that shot it out directly, that's the question here. And I think the referee and the linesman need to clarify as they look to see what's happened here. Jorge That should be a penalty against, without a doubt.
Yep.
He scoops it up, and it's the defensive player in his own zone that leaves the ice. Last touch by his stick, and not necessarily if it deflects off of you, but if you're in control and you direct it completely out, and that was as clear as day. As Hordehay just directs that one, and not entirely sure just why you would take that approach, but there we are, 16.4 seconds remaining on the first period clock. 7-2 the advantage in shots at the moment for the Italians, and this would crush the Japanese if they're able to convert off this face-off. That's relieving, no doubt, for Hordehay, as they will push this back and the seconds counting down. And as, yes, we will confirm that penalty from a distance outside, and it is blocked, and the whistle will blow before the end of time, but it's a delay of game call at 14:44, and the Japanese penalty. And that will be interesting to see how it sets up momentum really to start the second period. If they can, in fact, well, the Japanese will be hard-pressed with 1.1 seconds to get the advantage here. But Takahashi, interestingly enough, is back in the face-off circle.
Yeah, he's going to try to pull this really quickly back to Sudo to just get a quick shot. Oh, he's going to throw both of the players out of the face-off circle.
54 face-off wins for Takahashi. And it is that sort of debate, isn't it, as to whether you want to win possession of the puck or if you lose it to immediately get pressure on it. And that seems to have been the approach from Kojin Nakakita, but it hasn't worked thus far. After 15 minutes of play, the Italians have a 2-goal lead, and they look to be comfortable. Yeah,
the Italians in the driver's seat here. They look very good, applying pressure, shooting the puck, passing, getting opportunities. And they kind of have the Japanese back on their heels right here with a 2-0 lead going into the second period.
You're watching the qualification round. This is game day 4 at these Ice Sledge Hockey World Championships. Italy, after the first period, are leading 2-0 over Japan. Welcome back to these 2015 IPC Ice Sledge Hockey World Championships. I'm Brent Pope. Joined alongside me, our expert analysis coming from Taylor Lipsett, and you're looking outside the Harbor Center, where we are now about to start this second period, and the Italians, true to form, expected to take this game. And just because they're expected doesn't mean it's going to happen. As we look back on that first period, they have a 2-goal advantage at the moment, but they did look good for it. They look pretty comfortable at the moment.
Yep, they are executing their plan just as they had wanted to. 7-2 in the shot category, 6-1 scoring chances in favor of the Italians. The Japanese still doing a good job in the face-off circle, and they have created a couple of opportunities there, but the Italians just too much right now.
In the first period, there's some good activity at both ends. But it really comes down at the end of the day to the 2 goals and how they were created and how well they were taken. That was really the overriding impact of that first 15.
Yeah, the Italians doing a good job of getting some sustained pressure in the zone. And then their captain, Chiaroti, just putting himself in front of the net to pick up a juicy rebound right there from Nagase and took it right from him and put it in.
As is so often the case, it's just real small margins that lead to, well, the big return, which is a goal on the board. And then this pass here in play, and taking the backhand, the forehand going right up, that was just incredibly impressive from the Italian captain.
Yeah, great job by Planker in the corner to pull it out and put it over to Chiaroti on the far side, and a great finish by him.
Again, physicality. Leperti, a big bruising body. And again, they just like to come and step up on Sudo. Sudo, one that would be taking care of setting the table really from the back for the Japanese. And that physical game is, of course, it reminds the opposition all the time that when you're getting an opportunity to play the puck, you're going to do it at your peril. You're certainly going to pay a tax for it.
Exactly. The Italians want to make sure that the Japanese know every time they touch the puck or even get close to it, they're going to get hit. And consequently, that's created some turnovers.
There you see the 2 goals in this hockey game. They both belong to Chiaroti, the Italian captain, Andrea Chiaroti, who gets the benefit of Leperti staying with the play, following it up, and then he's relatively unmarked. He just gets to before Nagase can. He just slams it in the backhand, and then he gets that feed out of the corner, and it was outstanding to get right on the stick, Florian Planker, to put it right on the backhand, over to the forehand, and then over the shoulder of Nagase, and that's the 2 goals. And really, the way the Italians are playing, this might be enough. I don't expect that they'll shut up shop now offensively, but they really can throw down the defensive blanket and look to protect this lead in front of Gabriele Rado.
Yeah, the Italians just a little bit bigger and more physical than the Japanese, and if they kind of go to a more defensive approach, they can really shut down the Japanese. And the way they step up on the blue line and not allow the Japanese forwards to even get into the zone, easily, that can create a lot of problems for their opponents and prevents any scoring chances.
It's an Italian power play. They're 0 for 7. And will they go 0 for 8, or are they finally going to convert and really put a nail potentially in the Japanese hopes in this tournament of staying up in Pool A? They're 5 out of 10 on the kill, the Japanese. Takahashi, he's got support going to the net. McCree, though, is relentless, and he is right on him. And even though they're on the power play, they're just as content to keep Takahashi to the outside and not allow an entrance pass.
Yep, now we've got a turnover, and Takahashi behind the play because of it, and Rosa going to carry it into the zone and try to set something up.
Some great space movement. Rosa, an offload to Caligaris. Oh, Caligaris doesn't get the type of shot that he would have liked. He was in as great a position as a goal scorer has been in this tournament.
Yeah, he'll want that one back, and Rosa probably going to give him a little bit of a hard time, telling him he owes him an assist now, because that was a perfect setup and just not a good shot.
In front, they score! Planker will get on the board, and the power play is fruitful for Italy, and they're rolling now.
Yeah, just not enough strength on the stick there for Nagase. He gets a piece of it on the puck, but it just goes right through his stick and bounces into the net, and I think we might have a goalie change.
Planker just quickly maybe surprises Nagase with that shot, doesn't he? Kind of corrals it behind him, directs it towards the goal, but it almost burrows through Nagase, and he just forces it in and just wills it across the line. And that goal, his first of the tournament, he set up Chiaroti on that second goal of this game, right out of the corner. He's got eyes for the net. And the assists on the play are going to go to Rosa. He definitely was on the brink of getting one when he set up the chance just previous to that. And Winkler also will get an assist. So at the time, 107. The credit will go to Planker, assist to Rosa, and also to Winkler. Italy 3-0 up, a goal in the power play. Things are going well for them now.
Yeah, their coach, Desmarin, cannot have any complaints right now, but he's going to keep coaching his guys, and I think he's going to tell them to keep rolling here because they're going to want to carry this momentum over into their next game, which will be for the 5th and 6th place. And like I mentioned earlier, their goal was to better their seeding for the next World Championships, and that would be from moving from 6th to 5th.
A valid point indeed, and so difficult to make the type of progress that you might dream of ahead of these World Championship competitions. Making that incremental advancement is very difficult in itself, and it really comes down to, well, consistency and performance in key moments, as the Italians have seized the opportunities that have been presented to them today, have made full count for them, and they are up 3-0 and definitely in control. It's 5-on-5 now. Rosa up to Chiarati. And Chiarati, you wonder whether or not he's got a hat trick in the bag here. Could be a 2-on-1. Quickly joining the play. Is there a 3-on-1? Corvino, light, nice play over to Laperdi. Laperdi, there it is to Rosa. Oh, he misses. And that looked easier to score than it would have been to miss. And Rosa would have loved to have converted that. Maybe the return favor as he set up a play a moment ago. And as you mentioned, maybe he was going to be suggesting there needed to be an assist converted, but Rosa again on this shot. He goes wide and he advances the play, but not maybe the finish he would have loved.
I think he had too much time on his hands there. He couldn't decide if he wanted to shoot or which hand he wanted to use. It was so wide open and just ended up putting it just wide. Oh man.
Big hit. Big
hit.
hit.
Hands to the face there on that hit, and the Japanese player saying sorry already. Just got a little carried away. But definitely going to be a roughing penalty on the Japanese.
Yeah, you can see it clearly. And the penalty now coming up and making his way is Tomohiko Maruo. And as you see, the hands up in the face, and that obviously extending too high and too far away from the body, and it's an obvious one for the official. He's right there. He can make that one in his sleep, and down goes the Italian player, and a power play. They just scored in the power play, and this could just lead to further damage against. 1-for-1, Italy on the power play in this hockey game. It's a roughing call against Sudo. Will try and get it around. It is blocked though by Caligaris. And setting up, looking to see what is going to be available. They'll have a shot from here. Nagase still in there. Makes an important save with that blocker as he just staples it to the ice and prevents it this time. Macri and a loose puck. And it looks like not a whole lot's happening, but it's just out-muscling each other, isn't it? That's what's going on between those players in front, and a penalty coming up. And this time it's going to be a roughing return. And I think it's going to be Caligaris who's going to go right now. As you see, it was static really in front of the net, but it was the battling and using that core strength and the upper body strength to try and advance or to win possession. And there you see the referee calling it, and there is Caligaris going across. And referee quick, and the players, I don't know whether it's part of part of the design of maybe buying some time, showing confusion about the call, or whether or not they were in fact unclear.
Yeah, I think it was a pretty clear call for the referee. He was right over the pile, keeping a close eye on it, and both players just battling for the puck, and Caligaris lost it and maybe frustrated from those two chances he didn't convert on, and just took it out on the Japanese defender.
That was a pretty good shot there from Sudo, right off the face-off. It goes wide, and again, that has to be the pet peeve for all of these coaches. How many times an opportunity is presented and then wasted as a result of missing the net?
It's also very dangerous because if you hit a sled and the defending player's momentum is taking them up ice, and you're caught dead in the water, you know, in the zone going the opposite direction, it leads a lot of times to either breakaways or odd man rushes for the opponent.
You don't want to start the other team's breakout, and of course you don't want to, if you're the Italians, throw the puck down the ice when you're 4-on-4, thinking as though you're shorthanded, as we are even strength at the moment on icing against the Italians. 11:20 in the second period. Sudo in a good position there, and I'm not sure whether or not he just gets enough. I didn't hear the post, but that was labeled for the far left side.
That was that set play that the Japanese like to run right off the face-off. The Sudo almost converted, but Rudo getting enough on it to keep it out of the net.
Through this neutral zone, the Italians will just chip it in, laying on his side, Nagase. And you often look at that body position, whether or not that's the most alert and responsive to be able to respond if the puck does change directions. But he lies down and he makes certain that he's got his body behind it for a face-off. Everybody is regrouped, and they will return to this defensive zone face-off for the Japanese. Nagase looking on. The veteran, now 39 years of age. He's actually a social worker, and he's just keeping a level perspective on this one right now. He's staying with it, mentally tough. And he started the sport now 20 years ago at the age of 19. As it will work its way, but it doesn't get out. Nagase, first one. He is wide enough just to knock that back, but really quite quick in putting that back. You want to make sure you've got your angles on that. You don't put it right in your own goal. Yeah,
very experienced goaltender Nagase is, and he's actually been to a number of Paralympics. His first in 1998 when Nagano hosted the Paralympic Games. So a nice long career for him, and not sure how much longer he might be around, so good to see him playing one last time in person for myself.
He's battling away in the Japanese goal, and they've shared a little bit of duty back and forth, and particularly that opener when 12 goals conceded against the Canadians in day one, and it becomes a challenge to manage how you want to allocate your goaltending expertise across all of these matches. This is Jorge. He's had a couple of looks at it from the distance, hasn't he, from the blue line, trying to elevate up and elevate over Arado. But now it's a little bit of kind of one at a time on this forecheck. As the Japanese power play, trying to get collection of the puck, and the seconds will now tick away. And back to even strength as Caligaris is released from the penalty box and 5-on-5.
The Challenger want to get back down in the Japanese end to get some sustained pressure going on, just to keep in the execution of their game plan. They've done a good job thus far.
Sudo is back. Laperti not allowing any real ease of access out of their own zone, but Kumagai will take that feed, put it up into an area. Rosa is back, and if you give Rosa enough time, he'll make a very good play, and just makes it right there.
Definitely. Going back to Laperti, who just had a nice hit on the Japanese defender. I talked to Josh Sweeney from the United States, who played against the Italians in the previous game, and he said that Laperti is the biggest guy that he's ever tried to hit, and it didn't go so well for Sweeney. He ended up doing a complete flip.
Yes, we remember that one, and he responded back, actually, as he got him kind of right underneath him and tipped him up and over. And the mobility, but actually the lack of body weight, isn't it, with Captain Josh Sweeney? And that can happen sometimes depending on the collision, but I'm pretty sure the goals that he puts on the board more than make up for that. The captain of Team USA, as they are in a good position. They are in the semifinals and an opportunity to compete still for that gold medal, which what is all about for Team USA with these World Championships on home soil. But the puck is in behind the Italian goal, and they'll just look to relay it to themselves in a position to try to advance out of the zone. Winkler trying to get it to Planker, and Planker as well. He is a experienced Paralympian, also in alpine skiing. He actually wins a bronze medal in the Super G, does Planker, in 2002 in Salt Lake City. So you talk about it. He had a decision to make when it came to 2010, whether he was going to play hockey for Italy or whether he was going to continue with his para-alpine career.
Yeah, I remember talking to him at the Olympic Games in Vancouver and him telling me a little bit about that choice. And he just said that he had more fun in the team atmosphere. He had become good friends with all the guys since Torino on the Italian sledge hockey team, and really felt like maybe that was his best opportunity for a medal, and chose sledge hockey.
Well, it's interesting how the stories of both Planker and equally his defensive running mate Rosa really are very similar. They both were in motorcycle accidents, and it led to their having a leg amputated. And then they turned to Paralympic sport, and at a similar time they got involved, as this is a chance now from the outside. Nagase gets the glove up and knocks it down. And now they're scrambling a little bit, the Japanese, as it's only Kirati who is on the forecheck at the moment, but when they're down like that, you think the play almost looks like it's over. But they continue to fight and to battle, as does Caligaris here as he sends it wide to the other side. It's going to be kept in by McCree, and right now the Italians are in full control.
Yeah, these are world-class athletes, so even though they're tipped over on their side, there's a lot of play that can be done while laying down, especially since we have two sticks. So you never know what a player can do from that position, but I've seen goals scored, assists, all kinds of things happen when you think the play might be dead.
Rosa up and over, hands getting up to block it. They've kept it in the zone. Great regrouping to control that. Karate, a favorable bounce, and Caligaris is denied by Nagase as he sprawls back to the far post.
Caligaris has had a lot of opportunities in this game, and I'm not quite sure he could buy a goal right now. He's had some good looks and just hasn't had it go his way yet, but I guarantee you he'll keep shooting.
It's about good habits now, isn't it? As a result of this game where the Italians look destined to go through and not have to worry about relegation, they still have another match to play in this tournament, and it will determine their seedings and how they will finish this tournament and as far as their exact rankings. Misawa will take the feed. There's going to be a penalty coming up to Italy, as going back to touch it now, and they're expecting that Rosa was going to get to it, and the whistle may be a little premature, but it is irrelevant really, as there is going to be a Japanese power play coming up.
It'd be nice to see the Japanese get something going here, just for the sake of morale. I mean, they're such a good group of people, and the team works so hard, and they've done a good job getting themselves back up in the A pool to be in this competition. So to see them get something going here would be good.
And that's the penalty, is the response. It's not the initiation generally, as it's often the case in sport. It's a retaliation, and it would be. There's one goal so far belonging to this Japanese team in these World Championships, and that's gone to Kumagai, and that was back against the Czech Republic in the preliminary round. They get a goal. Unfortunately, they lose to the Czech Republic 2-1. They are capable of scoring. They would love one now, just to sort of change just the flavor of this contest and just give themselves a little breath of hope, as Sudo will just try and buy time. And it is a really slow, deliberate approach, but they still keep it in the zone.
Yeah, the puck just kind of floating around a little bit here. Not really any kind of setup or sustained pressure from the Japanese, and Rosa does his job as a defenseman and shoots it all the way down the ice. 0
for 2 in the power play at the moment, and as we say, it's sometimes the power play, because you're expected to generate offense and you don't, can be a little bit of a lull in your play. And right now it looks like that's the case for the Japanese, but this is better. And Takahashi is broken up though. That is fed right onto an Italian stick, and they read it like a book. Rosa has still got it. He's waiting to see what is going to be made available. He tries to just jam one across, and quickly the Japanese have to be back and alert to defend against this penalty kill from Italy.
All of that was caused because Rosa stepped up on the far blue line near his own zone on the Japanese forward and made a play on the puck instead of letting the Japanese just come into the zone. One of the best things Rosa's known for is just stepping up and timing that play perfectly.
Kumagai here, maybe a second wave. Is this the look? A changeup on goal, and Arado able to make the save, and maybe a little bit more by luck than design, as he was expecting that shot to be elevated, and he takes it right into his sled and he keeps it controlled.
Yeah, you see as the puck comes in on him, it kind of flutters a little bit, and then, yeah, you're just, look at there, it's right underneath him. He wasn't quite sure, but his teammates were there to post up in front of him to make sure no rebounds were attempted.
30 seconds remaining for the Japanese on this power play opportunity. And we all await to see whether or not they have another offensive marker to put on the board at this World Championships in Buffalo. And that looks almost like a bully-off, doesn't it, in the sport of field hockey, as they are just scrapping and clawing to try and get it out. It does come out. And that is almost a ricochet that creates the danger that they would need. They need some luck. They need to create their own, as they can't keep it in. And they're back again to regroup, and it's 5-on-5 action. As you see Caligaris released back out into the wild, and it's 5 against 5. And Sudo will just hold this defensive line for Japan. Up, and a long shot in. And Arado, as it goes right on goal, it was a delayed offside. I think it's going to go all the way back down into the Japanese end zone. Italy, 3-0 up over Japan at these Ice Sledge Hockey World Championships. The Japanese will have a face-off to the right of their veteran goalkeeper. And Nagase is looking on, and as you mentioned, 39 isn't necessarily the end of the road in Paralympic sport, but Fukushima getting the opportunity earlier on in this tournament, obviously younger and maybe more of the future of the Japanese program. This is an opportunity for Nagase to finish as best he can. 3 goals have already got past him. He will not want to concede a 4th. As we are inside of 4 minutes, it's up, it's blocked. Balacetti cannot keep it in. And through the neutral zone, the Japanese will fight for it, and they will take collection of it. And they are just really a half step off of trying to create too much advantage.
Yeah, the Italians just doing a good job of playing the puck into open areas, really just keeping the pressure off themselves, keeping everything outside. And
oh, danger off the pipe. And that against the run of play, a backhand sort of chip towards the goal. And Nakamura almost with the second goal of his tournament for the Japanese. It goes right off the post, and there really wasn't much Arado could do. He was outstretched, and it was one of those plays where the puck changes direction late.
Yeah, just as I was saying, they hadn't generated much, and the Italians were keeping danger away. There we see it, right off the post. He just gets a little piece of it and square off the post, and his defenseman there to save his shutout going he's got going.
Arado. And that's the key, isn't it? Particularly for these world-class teams, the ones that really dominate these competitions, the Canadians, the Americans, maybe even the Russians, but less so. The goaltenders don't get a lot of activity, and when they do, they've got to be ready to perform, and it's a difficult position to be sitting there waiting and watching, and then when it comes time to shine, that you're right on the mark. And Arado, yes, in this situation, it's their gold medal match to ensure that they haven't got an issue and that they're going to be staying in Pool A for the next World Championships. But you have to be sharp, because just as quick as you think you've got it under control, there is a goal behind you. McCree from a distance over, and Nagase. And it's so easy just when you see those lofted shots in that you can only anticipate just as what to come. It's not a surprise shot, though, naturally, but it's whether or not they can just get it over him, and he's in a better position where he had been earlier in the game, further out in the crease, and looking to challenge a shooter, and they were trying to almost lob it over him.
Yeah, just trying to cut down the angles on the shooters in the offensive zone there, and the point man able to see that, and like you were just saying, trying to maybe lob it right up over him, and I've seen it work before, so kudos to the defenseman on recognizing that and taking that chance. But Nagase doing a good job of keeping it out.
Nagase would look back potentially to that last match, and that was the game day 3 in the preliminary round, and it was dead level until there was a clearance, and you have to be alert all the time. It came all the way down the ice on a penalty kill, and was looking to make the pass before he had completed the save. You have to continue to pay attention to detail. Takahashi will go back and sort out this defensive alignment for Japan. Collision between Kumagai and Rosa. And once again, the Japanese are really chasing their tail for a moment, just getting collection of this puck. Nagase will get it ricocheted off of his defensive line mate, Sudo. He'll take it for a face-off. It'll settle this down.
Yeah, the Japanese running around a bit here. They look tired. They look a little bit defeated, but they're not going to give up. I've played this team too many times, and I know for a fact that they're not going to give up, and they'll try to finish off this second period and the third as well the best they can.
Interesting, you see Daisuke, a former Japanese player at these World Championships, not as a part of the Japanese program, but here actually on concourse level and in between games. But the face-off won by the Italians. Rosa, a block shot. I'm not sure if you had a chance to chat with him, but interesting just how the evolution of players in and out of these programs, and maybe in particular, he a very strong part of this Japanese program. But this is a block shot as it comes in, and Rosa, they're getting the bodies. They're not afraid, are they, the players, to get in front of these shots?
Not at all. And you mentioned Daisuke there. And the thing about sledge hockey that a lot of people don't understand is that these aren't full-time athletes in most of these countries. So these guys are going to school or working full-time. They have families, and sled hockey doesn't pay the bills unless you're a member of the Russian team. And a chance in front.
Oh, Winkler gets denied. Nagase, his best save, I would say, of this particular game, certainly in the second period, as Winkler goes close and he sprawls just in time.
Good job by the Italians getting a chance here, and Nagase just getting over just in time to prevent a fourth goal on the board.
It's a valid point, isn't it? It's that balance between life and then sporting life and competition life as a Paralympic athlete. And in this particular competition, as you say, depending where the funding is coming from, obviously the priority focus on what the key areas are in your life and what you'd like to have and what you have to have. As Kumagai is across the line, Rosa will take it away from him and lift it into an area. Laperti isn't entirely sure where it was at first look. He does now, and he would just put it in and behind the goal. As again, it's a battle. Ortehe, he's had some good opportunities offensively too in this one. And he has the Pauli in the corner there working with him. And right now, just Kirati managing the clock.
Yeah, I did have a chance to talk to Daisuke in between periods, and he is working full-time, and he is also finishing up school. So he's still a busy man, just doesn't have enough hours in the day to train for sledge hockey and compete at this time.
Inside of the last minutes of the second period, Italy 3-0 over Japan. Japan trying to get themselves going forward offensively. They've got some momentum now, and they waited. Masawa was flying from the zone, but they waited to get it to Takahashi, and by that time the Italians were able to align themselves and get back in front of the shot.
Yeah, not a very good entry for the Japanese there. Like you said, Masawa had a full head of steam going ahead, and they could have just bumped it up to him and let him taking it in around the Italian defenders, but decided to hesitate there to get the puck to Takahashi, and almost went off sides actually, and just kind of disorganized a bit.
The leveler, though, really is these sleds, because although the technology behind the sleds can give you an advantage, it really is difficult for a player to get through from one end to the other in these sleds and to be able to carve through all of the 5 players. And they work so hard to get back. And Takahashi with 8 face-off wins. That's what our question was, why he wasn't taking notes. Oh, it's a touch by Kumagai, and they do score. And Kumagai has done that twice now. He's got the magic touch for the Japanese.
Great job by Kumagai, just getting himself in position in front of the net. And a good job by the Japanese forward to throw the puck on net in an area. Sudo, there he is. He shot that puck for a deflection by Kumagai. And Kumagai does a great job just getting a stick on it and putting it right under Arauto.
You gotta love the touch in front by Kumagai, because he just changes the direction ever so slightly, and whether or not he knows exactly that that window would be open just under the arm of Arauto at that time, well, it looks pretty, doesn't it, from there, as it was a perfect touch and a perfect finish for the Japanese. They had worked hard to get that, and they made full account for it.
I told you there was no give up in them, and they would be playing to the last whistle of each period. So a good job by Kumagai to get his team on the board.
Fantastic finish for the Japanese. They still have so much work to do in order to really push this game on. But it poses the question for the Italians as they go in for the second intermission that this game is not exactly over yet. 3 goals for Italy after 2 periods of play, but the Japanese within the last seconds have got themselves on the board. Join us for the third period coming up. Looking inside Buffalo's own Harbor Center. You are watching the 2015 IPC Ice Sledge Hockey World Championships. We are in the second intermission and just preparing ourselves for the third period and possibly the final period that Japan will be at the World Championship level playing in Pool A. As we look through the first two periods thus far, alongside me, Taylor Lipsett, and is this the beginning of an end of time at this championship level for the Japanese?
Yeah, the Japanese just have their hands full today with the Italians. We see the Italians doubling the shots 14-7 over Japan, and the scoring chances 11-3 in favor of the Italians as well. But the Japanese control a lot of the face-offs, but just aren't able to convert that into offense, unfortunately. And the Italians there, 1 for 2 on the power play as well.
Scoreless, and then this second period really starts to develop. Kirati has got 2 goals in this game. And the third goal taken here by Planker as he just finds a way to force his will and to get it on Nagase. But they really were in as good a position. That's another angle of it. But what surprised us in the way that period developed was probably there at the end as you watch this goal. Kumagai, second goal of the tournament, and Japan only has 2 goals. What a late touch, and what a great little bit of lift to go into second intermission break with, and maybe they can build on that.
No give up by the Japanese, that's for sure. They're a very proud culture and a very proud team, so their coach, Koja Nikita, is definitely going to get them to play through the end of this third period here, and you never know what can happen. It's only 2 goals, and we've got 15 minutes to go.
Planker gets the third goal of this hockey game, the first of the second, and then right there, 6 seconds before the end of the second period, Kumagai gets the touch on it, and the feed coming from Sudo and Takahashi, and who else? Those guys have been involved, and every time they have the puck and plays look positive, and they start to direct it with the intention of going forward, generally they're involved as the coach, Kojin Nakakita, looks on, and possibly as we move through this 15 minutes, the real sort of crescendo for this Japanese program was maybe 5 years ago when you look at the Paralympics in Vancouver. When they beat the Canadians, they get a silver medal against the Americans, but it is so competitive nowadays, particularly Paralympic sport across the board. Ice sledge hockey, no different. Yeah,
the sport has come a long ways. Just in the last 4 or 5 years, we've seen teams pop up all over the world, from Austria, Poland, and the Netherlands. So we have a full 8-team A pool, a full 8-team B pool, and they're working on a C pool as we speak. So just teams everywhere. The competition is increasing every single year, and it's good for the sport of sledge hockey.
It is. The demand is high. The score is close. Hope you're enjoying the action wherever you're watching around the world. You're most welcome. I'm Brent Pope, and alongside me, Taylor Lipsett, bringing you the action for the remaining 15 minutes, maybe more, as the Japanese will build themselves up and come through the neutral zone with some speed. Kumagai, the magic touch. He's got a pair. Japan have got a pair. Obviously, he's got them both, as they will be forced back in behind, and they force the Italians to take an icing within this first 21 seconds. And I wonder what the message will have been from Kojin Nakakita. Are they resigned to their fate? You say they're a very proud nation, and they are, but have they got enough in the tank to legitimately and to realistically push this scoreline today?
They're gonna have to pick it up some, and they're gonna have to convert something off of these face-offs. Sudo's gonna have to find some corners off the point, maybe a couple of lucky bounces, but I've seen crazier things happen in the sport of sledge hockey.
It's down the ice again. Is it gonna be right on goal? It is. I've seen some long plays go in, and those are some crazy looking shots and goals that end up when you think they're just going to be dumped. And even sometimes the goaltenders trying to win an icing call, trying not to touch it and to come out and then have you go right off the post. It is the Japanese who will take collection of it. The pass, though, is not perfect. It's so difficult. The angle of the sled to be ready to receive a pass, and this sport, more challenge and more dynamic is a great word to explain the power coming from the arms, but equally then the sticks need to be ready to receive it as well while you're trying to create that passing lane and then advantage.
Yeah, there's a lot going on all the time, and as a passer, you're trying to aim the pass at the foot of the sled of your teammate so that by the time it gets there, they skate into it, it lands right on their stick. But like you said, you have to have both hands ready all the time to pass, shoot, receive a pass, and a good chance right there for the Italians from behind the net for their captain, Kiroti, looking for the hat trick maybe.
Yeah, ricocheted out, and he just gets thrown off the puck there, does Kumagai. As the Italians come back and are reminding the Japanese that they are in control and they don't expect to be relinquishing it, but putting it out front is always a good play. That one gets bounced back. Kumagai, he is the goal scorer in this hockey game for Japan, and he'll just cycle back. Takahashi goes past him. This Italian defense, 5 of them back in a good position, not allowing much daylight right now, but this is pretty promising stuff for the Japanese to start this third period.
The Japanese looking good in front.
And that's Hardahay. And it's a 3-on-5 effectively, and they're making things happen. And a long ways away, the other Japanese defender, and Yoshikawa, I'm not sure why he's so far out of the zone, because all 5 Italian players were pinned around that net trying to support Gabriele Arado.
Yeah, I don't really understand that either. They had the Italians pinned in their zone, 5 guys below the dots, so you would think that the Japanese defenders would be on the points, ready to keep that puck in the zone and possibly even get a shot with all the guys so low in the zone. But interesting positioning there for the Japanese defense.
A more spirited start to this third period from Japan. 1 minute and 58 seconds gone, and they've got a face-off just outside the Italian blue line. De Pauli, though, big heavy body, looking to control it in these war zones. Off of these face-offs, such an important part of then getting this possession and then putting it in the end zone, and hopefully you can dictate play. And it's about trying to assert your will on the opposition and make what happen, what you want to have happen. But De Pauli just breaks it up, and it's a little stilted at the moment as neither team is able to create a whole lot of flow. Rosa, though, he'll make sense of this and he'll move it around and out into a position in which they could maybe create some advantage going the other way. Winkler, he's trying to take it right off of Maura, and it's a good clearance. He's down. Winkler, though, breaks it up, and they're just circling, and it's a game of where's the puck? As across the ice it will go into the neutral zone, and the Italians wanting to keep it onside, try to play it in, but those lanes taken away quickly. De Pauli just plays it in, and that's a good clearance. Allows his team to make a line change, but they don't go for it. They employ the full court press here, and 5 guys on the forecheck.
I like seeing that kind of play from the Italians. I don't necessarily like when teams have a lead and they drop all back and play defensive, especially with a 2-goal lead, which is the most dangerous lead to have in hockey. So I like the fact that the Italians are being aggressive here and really taking it to the Japanese.
A good defense is supplied by a good offense, and if you can play defense, particularly in the offensive zone, well, that's exactly where you want to do the business, and that's what the Italians are doing right now. They're working this clock and grinding down this Japanese defense, because how much more tiring is it to get the puck back when you're in your own defensive zone?
Yeah, and you have to chase it from side to side when a team like the Italians have it, cycling it down low and back and forth between their D-men and forwards. So the Japanese really running around a bit, and you can see their players calling for a change just to try to get a break.
This is a chance to link on the end of it. Rosa, though, straddling that line, and he just elects to manage the angle in which he would like to play that puck in, and that, as much as anything, was the design to have it bounce off the boards in an area where it would go behind the goal and force either a stoppage in play or certainly a little bit of chaos around that Japanese net. You see the Japanese all converging in front of their own slot area. Didn't utilize the opportunity in that timeout to be chatting with their coach. And I don't think that's necessarily defiance, is it, Taylor? But more of them just getting themselves set and knowing that they have to get the job done on the ice.
At this point in a game, in this point in this tournament, there's not really much more you can say to your players. It's all about execution. You've trained and you've had the practices to work on all the technical things. It's just about the players on the ice taking care of business.
There he is, and dangerous coming in. An opportunity right off the face-off, and Andrea McCree, who has scored in this tournament for the Italians, just takes the momentum, takes it forward, and goes right past that left post as Sudo is there again, having to respond to the Italian pressure. And a little bit of discussion going on there in front of Nagase. No penalties being assessed, but pressure mounting from the Italians.
Sudo's been protecting Nagase for a long time, and he doesn't like anybody getting close to him, but McCree doing a good job of just weaving in and out of some of the traffic there on the faceoff to get a good shot on net.
They're trying their best just to relieve pressure off of that faceoff, and it just gets out. But once again, the possession game ensues as it's just slung around behind the net. Sudo is met by Caligaris, and he will work until the final seconds will come off this clock. Outside, a good chance there, Nagase. Dynamic save to just barrel across to that right post.
Good job by Winkler getting that shot off on the one time, but Nagase just quick enough to get over and put a pad on it.
McCree is holding his line and working so hard to get that puck, and then when it just gets pushed back and momentum has to stop, and you've got to be forced to do it all over again, it's difficult. Sudo will loft it in, and this will be McCree to go back and around. And right now, neither team, or particularly the Italians, aren't fussed about trying to carry it so much. They just want to put it into areas and to make every single possession for the Japanese that much more burdensome or that much more exhausting. A penalty now coming up. We'll wait to see. It looks like a boarding call, and the penalty to be assessed. And I think this is against the Italians.
It is indeed. Maybe just a little too aggressive along the boards there for the referee's liking. And this is what the Italians don't want. They don't want to give the Japanese any air here. And like I mentioned, a 2-goal lead, very dangerous lead to have in hockey. And we've seen that the Japanese can score. They can get traffic in front. And no doubt they'll be looking for Sudo on the point here right off this faceoff.
Roberto Radice for boarding. And the Italians, though, haven't got a fantastic power play percentage in this match. They do have a goal, though. Sudo was the one who shot it in, redirected by the man on the puck right now, Kumagai. And they will do their best in which to take advantage to cut this margin to 1. Sudo wide open. Is this it? It's blocked, though. Laperti just throws his numbers into the shooting lane, and he didn't care where he blocked that puck. He just wanted to make sure that he did.
Good job by Laperti getting his big body in front of Sudo right there in the slot.
And an overlap doesn't allow the Japanese to take advantage of some time and space on the ice, and immediately in back in good numbers. There's collisions and bodies bumping and Sledge. Laperti, though, he is a real fighter, isn't he? And he just grinds away to get this Japanese team to have to go back again and reload.
One of those big guys that are tough to get around. He's got some speed when he really turns it on and uses it. You saw him track down Sudo there on the back check, and just a hard player and creates a lot of problems for the opponent.
Lifted up and over the Japanese defenders. It'll go down the ice in 45 seconds remaining on the power play, and we're closing down to 8 minutes remaining in this third period, potentially the match. And the Italians using this penalty kill opportunity to create some more space and time. Rosa is dangerous from here. There's a shot. Nagase will settle it down. He'll keep play continuing, and he's deciding whether or not he wanted to face off. I thought he might have been better just to keep the puck live. And the referee, though, was right there. Nagase was looking up at him, and the whistle quickly blown.
Yeah, Sudo didn't give him any indication that he wanted to take that puck and keep the play going. So Nagase just decided to freeze it, and they'll change some player personnel on the ice and take the faceoff.
29 seconds on this Japan power play. At the moment, it hasn't looked that powerful as they really are starting to run out of gas. And the prospects of cutting into this Italian lead looking more and more remote as they're working just to win it back. But we said that at the end of the second period. And who would have thought that that goal from Kumagai was on the cards, because it was really a broken play, but it was a face-off win, and it was just perfectly placed at the right time, and that's all you need. But you've got to get in those positions. You've got to have the energy, and you certainly got to be getting the shots on goal. And they have not had a shot on goal, and back to 5-on-5. Radice will make it even strength as it comes around the boards, and they will try to get it out. But again, it is a little bit of a challenge in which to do so. Planker, Caligaris, there's the fourth one, and no more than they deserve. The Italians put it right in the back of the net, and they take that momentum after the penalty kill, and they convert with emphasis.
Great play by Planker to pick up the puck along the boards. We talk about these games are won and lost in the trenches, and Planker just does a good job of getting the puck off the boards, finds Caligaris on the far side, and he finally gets a shot off right over the blocker side shoulder of Nagase. He's had a lot of shots and opportunities this game, so he's happy to get that one. And it looks like we will have a goalie change after that fourth goal.
You're right. Nagase makes his way to the bench, and that goal will be credited to Caligaris. There's no doubt of that. And the pass coming from Florian Planker. And Planker, the 38-year-old, continues to get it done. As you now see Mochizuki, and we saw him in game day 3. And, well, there's not much Nagase was going to do about that shot, though, was there?
No, that was a world-class shot there. Caligaris perfectly placed the puck right over the blocker side shoulder of Nagase, and it's just very, very difficult for ice sledge hockey goalies to get that blocker up that high that quick.
There you see it. It's a 3-goal margin once again as we are in the back half of this third period, and with that goal, you probably would say on the back half of this game as we close down these minutes in this third. As from the outside, a shot in, and Arado. And how difficult it is, I assume, when your feet are making the save out in front of you there. Is there room for the puck to actually go underneath your sled?
There's supposed to be. I believe there's not supposed to be any equipment below the sled preventing the puck from going under. I can't tell. It looks like his boots or pads may just get underneath the bars there a little bit. So maybe that's kind of what he relies on to make some of those saves.
It's interesting, though, that you would use just the width of your 2 feet together as the point in which you would touch that puck, first of all, particularly as it comes from a distance. A lot of confidence in knowing that you're going to be able to retain your balance and to keep your feet straight onto that puck as it comes forward. But nonetheless, it is a 4-1 advantage. That is the talking point, and the Italians in firm control as they employ the forecheck once again.
Yeah, they'll just be looking to kill the clock now.
Uh-oh! Mochizuki isn't sure where it is. It's in the back of the net, and that is unfortunate for the Japanese. But again, you smell an opportunity, create that break for yourself, and the Italians have done it again. They've got a 5th goal on the board.
That's what happens when you just put the puck in front of the net. I believe that the puck came from back behind the net. Oh, just a mishandle by the Japanese defender. It hit a stick that was laying on the ice. Mochizuki couldn't find it, and Di Paoli was there to put it in.
I think he is. I think it's sitting on the goal line, and he comes and slams it at the end. And because it was live, and look at the positioning of the referee, he's right on the play. So Di Paoli is the one who looks to be getting credit for it. He was the last one to touch it, coming out of 2 Japanese defenders who had him against the end boards. He's able just to inch it towards the Japanese goal, and then he comes out and tidies up his own good work that he started.
Good job of staying with the play and not giving up on that puck.
Yeah, Christophe Di Paoli is the one who will get credit. They continue to work, and now it will be recovered by the Japanese, and this game is comfortably moving within the grasp of the Italians, and they will be then looking for, in their next matchup, whether or not they finish 5th or 6th. And as you say, their goal, as Rosa comes across this line, he's in a position to shoot. He goes right past the post, and Rosa has had a couple good looks at goal in this match.
Not able to convert yet, but he's been a part of a lot of these offensive rushes and a few of the goals. So still doing his job back there on defense for the Italians.
Credit on the goal. There is no assist on the play as the work was done from behind the net. And then the follow-up to see it in by Christophe Di Paoli. And he will be given the credit for the Italian 5th goal. And right now, it's a little bit of a fun ride for the Italian side to see this game out. They can take a few more chances. Sudo in the corner. And it's just left there for who actually wants it at the moment. The Japanese aren't sure if they really do want it. And I'm not sure if that's entirely the case. I just think they're just running out of steam.
Yeah, it's been a long week for the Japanese. They've had a lot of play in their defensive zone against these teams. They're just running out of gas.
Ordehay will take it. Can he make a play? That's a nice one to try and avoid the first forechecker. But it's trying to make a pass, and right now they look incapable of making a pass out of their zone before the Italians close them down.
Yeah, the Italians doing a good job of just applying pressure, trying to keep the puck alive and rolling, and the seconds ticking off the clock.
Behind their own net, and the majority of the last couple minutes have been inside this Japan zone. They're going to try and feed it out to the front of the net. And Florian Planker is out there waiting. He needed to just kind of stay a little bit longer and be patient. And it's that should I, shouldn't I question. Often you think you should go and help, and actually if you just wait, let the puck do the work. But that's easier said than done. More often than not, coming closer to the puck and shortening up those passes is the preferred option, as Japan is needing some support to get out of their own zone, and they are having difficulty just one on their own. But that's a nice play from Takahashi just to relieve the pressure momentarily and give themselves at least a look at trying to get it going offensively.
At least they'll be able to take a breath here for a second as the Italians come back and regroup.
The battle into a regrouping position. They have it on the stick. Kumagai will touch it. Radice holding it for Italy into this neutral ice, into an area for only his teammates to get to. Wide side there, and Florian Planker, the recipient, in an offside play, but he has a shot in, and he was set and ready to do it before the whistle came. 2 minutes and 30 seconds remaining in this tournament as far as whether or not it's going to determine the Japanese to stay in the A pool. At the moment, the Italians are going to force them out as they are 5-1 up late in this third period. At center ice, this face-off to resume play in the closing stages of this match as Mochizuki goes back into goal for Japan, and they have scored a goal. We were wondering whether or not they would. They had already had one up until this point. Now they have two. Both of those goals belonging to number 96, that's Kumagai, Masaharu Kumagai, the goal scorer in this tournament for Japan, and barring the unforeseen, he's likely to be the only one to have done so as they go back, and Rosa will get this puck. And I think the Italians will be just as happy to play a puck possession game if allowed to see out the remainder of this 2 minutes.
You'll see them go back and forth, east and west, with the puck most likely just taking as much time off the clock as possible and kind of playing keep away with the Japanese.
How well is this line played, though? Laperti out there with Kiroti, and then also, well, you look at DePauli, who gets that last goal, but we've noticed them more in this hockey game than in any other game that we've seen in this tournament so far.
They definitely have some good flow going, some good chemistry, and that's what you expect to see from that top line from the Italians, and that's the line that got them the European Championship. So they're capable of doing that on the big stage, and that's what the Italians are going to have to do in the next game to increase that positioning from sixth to fifth place.
Larch out on the ice, hasn't seen a lot of ice time today. Nils Larch, number 11, as the faceoff is trying to be won by DePauli. In a position behind there was Caligaris, who would have taken a shot had it been won. McCree, he has also scored in this tournament. It was the first goal for the Italians. And way back in game day number 1, he had that wicked high shot coming out of the corner. It was elevated into the net. And he has really been a defensive stalwart since for Italy. As right now, Radice is under pressure from Takahashi, and it would take a little bit of a miracle, I think, for the Japanese to develop any more offense in this one as the Paoli will just settle it down, and they're sensible, the Italians, coming across the line. Large, though, a shot from the outside. Like you said, haven't seen a lot of ice time today for Large, but good to see that he's still going to take a go at it here late.
Yeah, you were talking about McCree playing D for the Italians. He's also a two-time Paralympian, or two-sport Paralympian for the Italians. He competed in the London 2012 Paralympic Games in fencing.
Uh-oh, Kumagai again. He's flirting, and if I've spoken too soon, he's the guy that can step out of his shadow and make you pay.
Yeah, a good chance late in the period for the Japanese, but again, McCree, a two-sport Paralympian in sledge hockey and fencing. Maybe the Italians the most overall athletic team here with the most two-sport Paralympians.
They are. It's interesting as you look at it, and there is Kumagai again. Takahashi just feeds it out, and pulling it out of a hat was Kumagai, but he could not put it back on his head and wear a hat trick in this tournament of goals, as it is now the Italians just content to disrupt play enough to not allow any real severe openings in their defense. And this is just going to be time collecting stuff here as they push towards 45 minutes gone in this match, and all 4 games gone thus far. They both still have a game yet to play in these World Championships.
That should do it. A clear by the captain, Chiaroti, who had the first 2 goals and the game winner for the Italians. He's got my player of the game vote. The captain leading his team on to the qualification.
Radice in full grasp with Arado, and Arado doing a very sound job in this tournament in the Italian goal. That late goal in the second period by the Japanese is a consolation. It's a stat on the board, but it didn't really change the course of what the Italians were going to do today. They came out from the beginning, and it always takes a little while. You're wondering until they get that first goal just what's going to happen. They were in firm charge throughout the entirety of this match.
They did a great job of executing the plan that Massimo De Loren had for them. We see 5-1 victory, and they outshot the Japanese 20-10. So an overall pretty dominant performance from the Italians. Again, I give my...
And there you see how this qualification works out. Germany and Italy will go through. They are 5th and 6th, and they'll have a battle in their next match. But the Czech Republic and Japan will automatically now be relegated from the Pool A World Championships. They will go to Pool B in 2017. And what a course they will now travel, because you never know when you'll get back to Pool A again.
Exactly right. We saw the Germans. It's taken them 7 or 8 years now to get back. And with that win today, they secured their spot for a couple more years in the A pool. But again, for the player of the games here, I've got Chiaroti for the Italians, and you have to go with Kumagai from the Japanese.
And we'll wait the announcement. And there he is in the middle, Kumagai. You expect he will. And we are correct indeed, as Kumagai, with his second goal of his tournament, and Japan's second goal will now come across, and he'll come back. I like this. I like the way they run down and tap the sticks of all of their teammates, and sadly they'll have one more 45-minute period, or possibly longer, but that is really just determining who will be the first seed, who will be the second seed when they go down to Pool B, and that contest will be between Japan and the Czech Republic. And then looking across the Italians, player of the game, you said, number 16, Chiaroti. He's got 2 goals in this one. Those were the first 2 goals of this game. And he's got a little silver there in his feathers. The old veteran, the captain, leading his side from the front.
You can see how happy his guys are for him on getting that award right there. They're already chanting and singing.
He loves
giving it to the team.
A buoyant and excited moment for the Italians, because let's remember, they were on the cusp of being relegated to go down to Pool B themselves, and very affectionate as well. Everybody loves to see that. Sportsmanship on and off the ice, as we are just a moment away from the playing of the Italian national anthem in honor of their victory They will remain in Pool A. You gotta love the Italian national anthem, if only for its tune and its drama. It creates passion. I don't know if it's creating any singers out there today for the Italians, but they were all in enjoyment of it as it honored their win in this important qualification match as we look back on the stats of this one.
The final stats totally dominated by the Italians, 5-1. 20-10 in the shots category, 16-7 scoring chances for the Italians over the Japanese. They evened out the face-offs there, 23-29. Japan still edging them out, and the one power play goal for the Italians to seal the deal.
Pretty much as was expected before this match took place, it went to form. The Italians get themselves on the board first. It was a loose puck opportunity. Their captain strikes and gets it going, and then he's in a great position on the backside, and he takes it and puts it high, and it was a very confidently taken goal, and that boded well. Even as they develop through these stages, this one here from Planker, another double athlete for this Italian Paralympic program, and then Kumagai, late responding in that second period, gets his second of the tournament, and then Caligaris, though, that was as well taken a goal as we have seen. And then this one was just a loose puck opportunity, but created by De Pauli, and he just pounced on it, and I'm not sure that Mochizuki knew exactly where it was. And the job was done by Italy. They take care of business, and we have taken care of 4 days of business. Still more to come, though, from these IPC Ice Sledge Hockey World Championships. I'm Brent Pope for Taylor Lipsett. It's bye for now.